Viruses. They can either save humans from deadly diseases such as infectious bacteria or cause scenarios that were only previously seen on Plague Inc. Welcome to Viruses. Viruses are fairly interesting. They're technically not living. They're just lumps of protein and other things that just exist in the air or water. They're also very, very small. They're about only 200 nanometers at the most, but some can be larger. Viruses have two things in common. One being that they all have a form of DNA or RNA, and the second being that this RNA or DNA is surrounded by a protective capsid that keeps the RNA or DNA inside the virus. In addition, some viruses also have a protective envelope outside the capsid in order to protect the virus. And again, some may have proteins that help them maybe connect or bond to other cells or to just float around and move. However, it is important to note that not all viruses are like the ones shown in the diagram. Some viruses, just like humans, can be different in any ways. For example, they can have a different envelope, they can have a different capsid, or have DNA or RNA. There's many variety in viruses, and they're not all the same. In addition, viruses can also reproduce. Wait. Didn't you just say that viruses are not living things? Yeah. Isn't reproduction one of the main ways we classify if a thing is living or not? Yeah. So why are viruses living? I have one answer for you. Questions are bad. But all jokes aside, this is a very good question. Viruses are actually non-living because although they reproduce, they need a host cell in order to reproduce. And this process is known as the lytic cycle or the viral cycle. Let's take this bacteriophage for example. He needs a cell or a bacterium in this case in order to survive and reproduce. What he does is he locates a bacteria and attaches himself to the bacteria, and what he does is in a weird motion he squeezes his DNA or RNA into the bacterium. And while this is happening, the bacteriophage itself essentially dies because it has no more DNA or RNA inside of it, and the bacterium is completely oblivious to what is happening right now, but later he will suffer the consequences. The virus's DNA then groups up with the bacteria's DNA and stays dormant for some time, or is activated immediately. Either way, the bacteria is instructed to construct new virus body parts, aka the head, the sheath, everything. And these body parts assemble inside the bacterium and they are eventually assembled into full bacteriophages or viruses. Then the bacteriophage releases an enzyme that ruptures the bacteria's hull, killing the bacterium and releasing all the bacteriophages into the outside world. The cycle then repeats until either all the viruses are killed or there's no more cells to be infected. Viruses are very interesting, and I would encourage everyone to look at the sources and links in the description for further reading. And this is pretty much the end of the video. Thank you for listening, and I hope this video was a good introduction to viruses. Have a good day.